going to talk about mindset shifts today because mindset is so important when it comes to making progress. So the reason that we're going to do these mindset calls is because I can teach you all the practice strategies in the world. I can teach you my very best ones. However, if I don't help you choose the thoughts that are going to set you up for success, all those negative thoughts that we all have negative thoughts, we all have objections to things, especially when it means doing something that we're not used to, stepping out of our comfort zone. And if we don't tackle those thoughts, well, we're not setting ourselves up for success. None of us are unique in that way. We all have this little voice that chatters away inside of us. And we need to put in place some strategies to help us manage the chatter that goes on. So that's why we're here today, is to talk about something that's really important, the mindset. And I want to remind you all that it's okay if you find this challenging. It's okay if you feel really sort of out of your depth. Remember what I said yesterday. If that's you and you're feeling a little uncomfortable, celebrate, because it means that you're growing. You're making progress. If we stay in our comfort zone, then often we just stay either level or even sometimes going downwards. So my pep talk today is about something that I call DSD, do something different. But before I tell you about DSD, I want to tell you a little story about when I've put DSD into action. So many years ago, I used to teach in a school and I conducted a jazz band that was renowned for how good it was. It was renowned for winning all the competitions, not just in the UK, but around Europe. So, we turn up the band and people will be like, oh, they're here. And, I was really proud of that. So were the kids. And we were asked, every concert we were asked to perform, and we were always the highlight of the show. Everybody came to congratulate us. Everybody came to those performances really to listen to that jazz band. We were doing a big concert at the Bridgewater Hall, and I was told that it had to have a theme of 1930s and 40s, and I was told that the jazz band would have to play Glenn Miller. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, oh, that would be brilliant. But we didn't really play that style of music. We were really into sort of funk music, Chick Corea, Carlos Santana. The kids really thrived on that sort of music. Swing music, really hard to play, especially when you're younger. And it wasn't really what they enjoyed playing. So when I broke the news to them, they were already sort of, do we have to do that? And I was like, yes, we have to do that, and we need to do it well. Now, swing music, as I just said, is really hard, and Glenn Miller in particular. I mean, if you're going to do a Glenn Miller medley, it's got to have In the Mood. Well, the trumpet parts are horrendous. They hit a top D, really advanced stuff. So I knew I was like clutching at straws. So my first thing that I did to DSD was, there was a lad in my clarinet choir who was the ballroom champion of Europe. And he was 16 and he had his partner, his girl that he danced with. So I asked, would you like to do some choreography and dances to the big band playing? And this, the stage at the Bridgewater Hall, if you don't know the Bridgewater Hall, it's the big major concert hall in the north of England. It's huge. It's, purpose built, got a big stage. So of course they leapt at the chance. So we did, these dances, and there was a waltz, and there was a jive and a cha-cha and a foxtrot, I think. And every dance and every piece that we changed, they changed costumes. So this was wonderful, and I thought this takes the attention away from any of those dodgy bits that might go on in the band. So all was well. Then we turned up on the day for the rehearsal, and this DSD went one step further, because when we arrived, we found out that nobody else was playing 1930s and 40s music, just the jazz band. So now the kids cottoned on to what had happened. I hadn't really mentioned this, I've been very professional about it and said we just need to get on and do what we've been told to do. And they'd gone along with that. Then we rock up and nobody else is doing this 1930s, 40s theme. So they're really quite miffed. And, 18-year-olds, when they get miffed, can be quite hard work. So I said, right, guys, do you trust me? And they went, yeah. Why? What have you got in mind, Miss Berry? And I was like, right, if you can promise that you trust me and you can do whatever I tell you today and work really, really hard, I've got a plan to steal the show back. I said, but you know me, this is going to be maverick, this is going to be a shocker, this is going to be a challenge. So they're all like, yeah, come on, bring it on, Miss B. So basically what I did in a couple of hours, about 4 hours, I got in touch with the lighting guy at the Bridge Waterhall and the sound guy. They were friends of mine as well, which always helps. And I said, right, I want to shock the audience. So not only do I want my dancers, I want a light show going on. No problem, Fiona. Have you got all the timings? So allocated that job to the kids. They needed to mark all the timings. It's very complicated to do a light show. So 2 of them set about doing that. Then I said to Leon, who was the sound guy, right, I want a total blackout in the room and I want an air raid siren. Can you sort that for me? Yeah, absolutely. Got another of my, the head boy. I said, right, you're going to walk on. It's going to be pitch black. There's going to be a spotlight and you're going to do the Winston Churchill speech. So can you take yourself to Manchester Library now and find an absolute gem of a snip that you can memorise by this evening's concert? Yes, Miss Berry. Off they go. Then I said to 2 others, I said, right, you're going to start, I won't mention any names. This lad's going to finish his Winston Churchill bit. And you're going to start by playing a piece, any piece, something like Stormy Weather. Can you go to Manchester Library, find some music, or get on the internet, and you're going to have to memorise it because we've got no printer. You can't practice it because we ain't got a piano, and this is a total secret. We want to take everybody by surprise. We're going to do something different. We're going to DSD it, our way to success here. Yes, Miss Berry, we can do that. So off they went. Then I took it even more, one step further. I said, right, saxophones, come here. You're going to parade on from all angles of the Bridgewater Hall. So you're going to be completely off stage and you're going to walk in as soon as the piano introduction finishes. There'll be a big drum solo. Oh, by the way, drummer, can you get onto that and sort something out? No drum kit to practice on, so you'll have to, use tables and chairs and hear it in your head. And saxes, you're going to have to memorise your music, obviously, because we've no liars with us, and you're going to come in from all angles. No worries, Miss Berry. Well, all I can say is I taught them all. So they all knew effective practice methods. They all knew exactly how to learn something in a very short space of time. We told absolutely nobody. So we went through the rehearsal in the afternoon and we just was on stage, no light show, no nothing. So, we sounded a bit, it was okay. And then in the concert, we just took everybody by surprise. When the lights went out on the blackout and the air raid siren started sounding, the whole audience was just, it's just like I had them in my hands. And then this lad delivered this marvellous speech, memorised, and then the piano started. Nobody knew what to expect. And then all of a sudden there was this big drum solo, and then the sound came from all over the hall as the band marched in playing Glenn Miller's In the Mood. And then the dancers came on, and there was this light show to go with it. And then I took it one step further and did another DSD. I had been secretly practicing with this lad who was in my clarinet choir. I'd been practicing the jive, and in the middle of the Bridgewater Hall on stage, stopped conducting, the band carried on playing, and I went and did the jive. Well, we brought the house down. That is all anybody talked about at the interval, at the end of the concert, in all the papers, the magazines. So I DSD'd my way to success. Even though we had to play something that the band wasn't familiar with, that they really didn't take to, they didn't like, we pulled out all the stops and I DSD'd my way to success. So when I tell you to do something different, what comes to mind usually in your gut? It means shaking something up. You know that things that you've been doing perhaps aren't working, or maybe, it's too much of a challenge to pull it off. So you need to DSD, you need to do something different like I did there. Took the attention off the music in a way and made it more of a theatrical show. We all get frustrated in our practice, every one of us, myself included. But what I do, and what you do are two separate things. When you get frustrated in your practice, many of you just keep doing the same things day in, day out, but somehow hoping for better results. So whenever I have a problem, instead, I like to stop and get creative and do something different. The reason why I chose this one as my first mind shift sort of pep talk was because later on I'm going to be talking about planning your practice, and it's something that perhaps you might not be familiar with. So you're likely, when we're not familiar with something, to put up a little bit of resistance. So I want you to have this DSD in mind when I share what I'm going to share later on in today's training session. So there's no wrong answers to what you're going to do differently. The only wrong answer, I guess, is to not give this a go, to not DSD some things. Remember, DSD stands for do something different. You are here for a reason. And if you're going to trust me over this masterclass, I want you to promise me that you'll trust this advice. Being creative and being able to switch things up is really key to making progress, not just in music, but also in your mindset. And you can apply it to lots and lots of other things in life as well. So I want you to get it like tattooed on your brain, DSD. How can I DSD my way when I'm stuck, when things are not quite working, when I feel a little bit frustrated or I'm in a slump because this is hard. Fiona's asking me to do something hard. Some people, like I say, might find the planning hard later on. So ask yourself, how can I DSD my way through this? It sounds like a bit of a cliche, but I guess another way of saying it is, how can you think outside the box? So I'm very good at thinking outside the box. Not everybody is, but I do believe that with practice, we can get better at thinking outside the box. So growth happens when we feel uncomfortable, when we get uncomfortable. And a lot of the times it's the DSD that you're going to need to do where you're going to feel that uncomfortableness. That's a word. So I want you to prepare for that. Know that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Give yourself grace. Remind yourself that you're DSDing, you're doing something different, and you're doing something different because you want bigger and better results. So if you're one of those people that kind of resist planning because facing the reality perhaps of your day is daunting, or maybe you think planning's a waste of time and it would be better spent physically practicing on your instrument. The reality is you've probably got a fear of something deeper than that, and that's that inner voice talking away. So one of the things is things become so much more real when we write them down. That's the planning. And for some, that can be tough. You want to learn your pieces quicker and easier. Am I right? So you want the result. Am I right? So do the planning, even though you're uncomfortable. Do it even if you don't like it. Do it because the end result, what you'll gain from it, is bigger than the worry and the fear of sitting down with a pen and paper. It really doesn't matter if you like it or not. It really doesn't matter that you might have a fear of doing this. Lean into the support. It's not going to kill you to sit down with a pen and paper. But, like I say, give yourself some grace. Remind yourself that this is a task that you're doing and you're DSDing. You're doing something different because that enables growth to happen. If you like, you're keeping an eye on the prize. You know what the goal is that you want to reach. You want to be able to play this piece that you've chosen to learn in 1 week's time. So if you do it in your old methods, it's probably not likely to happen. So you're going to have to DSD your way to success this week. So know that it's okay to admit that this is a challenge. Know that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. But know that everybody in this community is here to support you. And I am here to give you guidance. I'll give you as much help as I can in helping you make the shift in the mindset, but ultimately it starts with yourself. So commit to doing something different throughout this masterclass so that you can up-level the results that you achieve. We need to have a vision, a big vision of where we want to be. The end result needs to be huge. That needs to be bigger than those fears along the way. So this call's nearly at an end. After I finish, I want you to do me one thing. Just spend a moment after this call imagining yourself playing your chosen piece that you've learnt throughout this masterclass, and imagine that you're playing this piece now with ease and confidence. And then think for a moment how that feels. How's that going to help you propel yourself forward along your musical journey? How excited, how motivated are you? How does it feel having learnt a piece so wonderfully in so little time? It's all possible if you DSD your way to success. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.